Hey guys, what's going on? 5869 here, and today got another episode of From Lane to Lane, venturing off a little bit from what I usually do, and I got a Captain's Mode game. So I usually do cast like in-house Captain's Mode, but never just, random, I guess you could call them pub Captain's Mode games. But this one just like too good to pass up. It was sent in by one of the players from TB, I believe. Unfortunately, I forget who, and I don't want to stop this and take a look. So I will post it in the comments of the video, the information about the video there, and just say thanks to whoever it was. But I'm looking forward to this one. It wasn't too long. It wasn't like a 70-minute long game like we usually get in the From Lane to Lane casts. It's only around 40 minutes, I think, and I believe that includes the draft as well. So we'll just hop right into it. We've already got a Queen of Pain and an Undying banned out. Both heroes definitely tier 1. Especially Leshrac as well. He's going to be taken out, and I can imagine a Medusa. I was going to say I can imagine a Lion or an Earthshaker, but now we've got the Lion, Earthshaker, Shadow Fiend. Even Melina still in the pool. So we'll have to see what they want to pick. I think right now in 6.84 we've got, we do have some top tier picks, but we still see the Phantom Lancers, the Tuskars, the Shadow Demons. We see a lot of heroes that we didn't for a long time. And really, I mean, anything's better than the 6.83 ho-ho-ha-ha meta, so I'm really looking forward to this one. It looked like it was going to be a ton of fun. I don't usually get to cast Captain's Mode games, and it's going to be the Business versus Clutch Gaming, so I think the Business guys actually posted, I want to say 2, maybe even 3 casts. Enigma going to be picked up. Love watching this hero. Black holes are always a ton of fun. We'll see if they want to set up some Wombo combo with this. I think that's what the title of the Reddit post was that there was a little bit of Wombo combo here, so no spoilers, but definitely going to be seeing some wicked team fights here. And if you've watched my cast before, you know I love casting a good team fight, get that hype going. And who doesn't love to see a huge black hole or a huge Requiem of Souls even? So a Lion going to get picked up. This guy's got solid block down. It kind of shows up the fact that Enigma's a greedy jungle hero, as Lion's really good in lane. You can pair him with even just one other carry, and because he's got 2 kind of disables, the Hex and the Stun, he's able to just get a kill with like another hero. You don't have to worry about the Enigma being in the jungle and having to rotate in for the gank. Although sometimes it is effective. Obviously Enigma's got a strong stun, but the Io getting picked up, and here we go. I love watching this hero as well. I imagine if the Radiant doesn't get a Tiny ban, that Tiny will get taken here, and that's something that's going to be pretty scary. So they've got to be careful of that Tiny. But even then, you can still get Io Bristleback, even CK. He's just good with so many heroes. We'll see if they're looking to dual lane the Shadow Fiend and the Io, but honestly, I think Shadow Fiend's such a lane winner in general that they can leave him on his own. And the only thing is now you've got the Enigma against the Io, and that kind of solidifies the fact that you can be greedy with this Enigma, because Io isn't the best ganker, really. So you don't have to be too worried in your lanes. You don't have to worry about rotating mid lane and having something like a Dazzle stopping the gank, or you don't have to worry about playing really safe with your supports because maybe they're going to rotate 2 of their supports to kill your core and your Lion or something like that. But a Clockwork and a PL going to be taken out here. Clockwork, oddly enough, I think Clockwork's actually pretty good against Enigma, so a little bit weird that the Dire would take him out. PL, they're actually going to take the Tiny, so they didn't want to ban it out. They're going to ban out the Bristle and the PL, who I guess they think are 2 good heroes, which they are 2 good heroes that go with the Io, and they're just going to straight pick the Tiny. So I like that. Tiny's still pretty good on his own here. We'll see if maybe they grab like an off-lane Beastmaster. Would be pretty nice. Just give that attack speed aura to the Tiny. I think the Beastmaster is pretty good as well at scouting, maybe if the Shadow Fiend's in the back running for a Requiem, or we'll have to see here, but I do like watching a Tiny no matter what. Obviously, he's really strong with the Io. He can split push really well, but we'll have to see what they're going to go with now. And it could even be a mid-Tiny. I think he would definitely lose later on, probably by about level 2 or 3 against the Shadow Fiend. But if you can dual lane him, then maybe not. But I think if you've got the line in the Enigma, you're probably not looking to do that. So Sven, a nice pickup here for sure. He's got the bonus armor for the whole team against the Tiny, even though he will later on cleave through that. But I think even just the main target, getting a little bit more bonus armor from the Sven, obviously it gives you move speed, so you can kite him a little bit more, which is really strong as well. So I do like the Sven pickup, actually. I think you can go a lot of ways with this Io. But picking up the Sven, I really like that. Obviously, he's got fantastic late game. He can still man fight up against the Tiny. Obviously, even if he gets BKB, he could still get Craigied, which is super annoying. I absolutely hate that when I jump in on a Tiny and just get first hit Craigied. That's like one of the most enraging things in this game, but we'll have to see. I do like the Sven pickup, though, so I do want to commend them on that pickup. I think that's a really nice grab there, and they both have the cleave, so they'll both be going into the late game, and the Sven Io can really split push, just maybe not as well as the Tiny Io could have, but they could still do it really well with that cleave. Obviously, Sven's going to be getting a lot of farm here, and we'll have to see what Clutch Gaming is going to want to return here, as they're going to be looking for their mid and their offlane, so they're a little bit limited now. Against the mid, really, I can see a Storm Spirit not being bad. If you do get the Storm, and you can just zip in the backlines and take out the IO, I think that's pretty solid. They've really only got the lockdown from the Sven as well so far. So I think the Storm can kind of have his way, but I would like, if they're going to pick the Storm, I would maybe say risk it until the last pick. And then that way, you don't really... Because if you pick it up now, maybe they grab something like a Silencer, or somebody with really hard lockdown, like a Lina, you just grab a Yules on the Lina, or a Yules on the Shadow Fiend still could be pretty deadly for this Storm. But I still would like to see it, though. I think if you can get behind there, grab the IO and kill him before the team fight really gets on there, then it's good. Tidehunter going to be a nice pick as well. It's going to mean that the Sven and the Shadow Fiend both are going to have to, you know, maybe not rush BKB, but they're certainly going to have to get it pretty early on here, and that could be devastating. And then you've got the Tiny, the Enigma, the Lion. They have so much lockdown, and a Magnus. So this has got to be an offlane Magnus. It absolutely has to be. There's no way it's a mid Magnus and an offlane Sven with a safe lane Shadow Fiend. I'm going to say it's got to be an offlane Magnus, who's actually going to fare pretty well up against the Lion and the Tiny, although they do have a lot of stun. I think as long as he gets out that early bottle, he should be alright, but I would actually like to see, if they don't grab a Storm here on Clutch Gaming, I think a Timbersaw would be fantastic. You've got 3 strength heroes already. You don't have too much lockdown, really. You've got the Sven and the Magnus, who have, you know, obviously the RP's huge lockdown, but no matter who you grab, it's huge lockdown. And you've got the Sven stun, and that's really it. And the IO, he's a strength hero, but he doesn't have a really big HP pool, so any strength you can take away from him is going to be huge. And I think the Timbersaw against those 3 strength heroes would be pretty scary, and I'm not sure how they would deal with it. They'd have to pick up, you know, a really hard disabling support. I can't believe Lina's still in the pool, honestly. I think she's still a really tier 1 support. I do like the Earthshaker ban. Gonna help get rid of some of that lockdown that they're missing right now, and God, it's so scary to play against an Earthshaker. Like, just grab a smoke and he can just initiate from so far away. They're gonna take out the Rubik. Okay, so was not expecting that. So it most likely will be a mid Tiny, and it's gonna be a safe lane Gyrocopter here, and that makes it obviously a lot easier for the Magnus here. I gotta say, Clutch Gaming, don't really agree with the Gyrocopter. I like the Disruptor pick if you can glimpse somebody back. I mean, really, the Enigma is going to have to get a BKB kind of early on as well. But the nice thing is that the Enigma blinks in, or even if he doesn't blink in, as long as you're outside of that black hole, you can glimpse him, and it's going to stop it. So I do like that pick. Glimpse has huge range, which means you can stay really far in the back there, and again, if you would have grabbed a Storm, that would have been a really nice pick up there. The Disruptor, not the best to deal with the Storm. Obviously, if you can somehow lock him in with your ultimate, then yeah. But and they were pretty quick to go to that Disruptor, so I think the Storm would either force them to just straight up pick the Disruptor and not really have the best counter, or they have to really think a lot on their last pick as well. So I would have liked the Storm and the Timbersaw a little bit more. But it's still a good draft. Obviously, nothing wrong with the draft. It's just we'll have to see how it's going to get laid. So we're going to go up here and start off with TB. I believe it was the business, or business time, whatever they want to go by, where we're going to have Nera. He's going to be on the Sven. Looks like he's actually moving towards mid. Meanwhile, it looks like it is going to be SG Leroy on this off-lane Magnus. I thought that was going to be the most likely lane combination here, as Tubbs, McGrubbs. He's going to be most likely going top with the Sven. Yeah, there we go. The Shadow Fiend is going towards mid. Dirkyj is going to be going up mid with that Wisp, it looks like, actually, perhaps, although he's not going the Bottle Rush build, so they've got to smoke early on, too. We'll see if they want to do anything with that. Meanwhile, we've got KHE He's going to be on this Tiny, and it looks like he's going to go mid as well. So I thought maybe the Gyro could go mid, but I did say it was going to be the Tiny. Gyro perhaps had the opportunity to, but I think the Tiny's a little bit better. He's got 2 branches and 2 tangos, so he's going to be looking for that bottle rush, and I imagine hoping to get this nice early bounty rune here. As they've got a lot of damage. The Lion is going to be taken up by Lamesky here, and right beside him they're going to have Oxo on this Gyrocopter, so they've got a lot of damage early on here. And looks like Strummer, he's going to be taking up this nice Jungle Enigma, and Hijinks is going to be on the safe lane solo Tidehunter, so it looks like they're actually going to run a nice aggressive tri-lane here. And are we going to see a first blood on this rune? It looks like no, the Dyer's going to think the better of it and say, nah, they've got too much early game damage. And Tiny, he's already off to a great start, only needs about another 70 gold until he has his bottle, and that's going to really help him out. As what do we have here? Yeah, so he's actually not too far off on the Shadow Fiend either. I think maybe he should have just gone Raze first, as Tiny's got ridiculous base damage, and he does have no armor, which is pretty good because the Shadow Fiend's got really low base base damage, so it's definitely going to help him out here. And actually, they see it coming, so they're gonna dodge the aggressive tri-lane. Really, I think. Yeah, I think they a nice little dodge from the Radiant. They see that it's going to be an aggressive tri-lane, and they're going to dodge it. They know that they've got the Enigma in the jungle, and they got to be careful. And look at this, they're already ready to go on Hijinks, who does have Anchor Smash here. If he wanted to use it, I think he should have just thrown on out. Would have gotten a nice, pretty value Anchor Smash in all honesty. Gotten 2 heroes with it, and already Tiny's going into the first Tango here. As we've got 3 souls, we'll pick up the last hits here. As 3 for 2 already on the Sven, and Tiny and Shadow Fiend going at it. That 69 base damage is absolutely massive there, and actually missing a last hit, unfortunately for him. Look at that, already going to get a stun. Does he have the toss? He does. I would like to see a nice toss back into the creeps and then tank some more creeps, maybe another right click perhaps too there, but nothing wrong with that. I was going to get a nice little D-ward here and actually going to ward up the medium camp. Meanwhile, bot lane, it looks like the Tidehunter is going to be our first body. You're getting some nice body blocks here from the Wisp as well as the Sven, and looks like Tubbs McGrub's actually going to be the one to claim that, but I don't think Mira's going to be angry at him whatsoever. And again, Leroy's going to have a pretty nice time here. Actually, we see a second point in a mana drain, which is going to make it a little bit more annoying for him to have that getaway, but he does have the Mango if he really needs it. And Gyrocopter doing quite well in terms of last hits and denies here. As the Tiny, he's starting to fall behind, does have 72 damage, but we've got the Shadow Fiend now with some souls, and he's not far behind here. One Raze is actually going to hit him and is going to throw out the stun, use his last couple bottle charges, and just grab the 2-minute rune here. We'll see if he gets no S4 rune. It looks like it's actually going to be the regen rune bot lane, so excuse me, it looks like they're just going to give it up to the Disruptor as he needs it a little bit more. Actually, no, they're going to just give it straight up to the Shadow Fiend, and good for him. He's going to have a nice little regen rune there, and it's always so annoying to go up against somebody with a regen rune when you're mid. Obviously, if you click on him and see that he's got a regen, it's just so annoying when you have to trade hits with him because you know, obviously, he's got that regen. He can afford to do it, and it just makes it a lot tougher to lane because you got to play a lot safer with that. And we've already got a full wand up here on the Tidehunter. I think he could have stayed with the stick and just grabbed up Brown Boots. I think would have been the better option here. Try to get whatever move speed away from this Tidehunter and the Disruptor that you can. And it looks like, speaking of which, they're ready to go in. There's going to look for the stun. There it is. So the stun's going to go down. Do we have the static field there? And yeah, he is. He's got it. And just look at the damage on the Hijinks. He's going to have the magic wand there. He's got Anchor Smash in 2 seconds, but there's the glimpse back. And looks like I was going to be the one to get this kill. Lion's TPing in, but it's a little late. He'll at least be able to get some XP and perhaps some farm bot lane here. He's going to miss that last hit, but they're getting a little low in the jungle, just tanking up a little bit. Is going to grab that clarity and move up to take this camp. Here's Gyrocopter having a pretty nice time top lane, but really, so is this Sven here, and he's already got 2 assists under his belt as well. So I don't want to really look at the net worth. He's not leading by too much, only about 100 net worth, but still a little bit better. That's Tiny, just going to eat these raises, and this is going to be a much harder mid lane for him. I think really these lanes are working out so well for Dyer right now. They're probably so happy with the way this game is going out. I think this last pick Gyro, maybe they're putting a little bit too much into the Wombo combo. I think perhaps the call down and everything, I see where they were going with it, but I think a Timbersaw or a Timbersaw would have been a little bit harder mid, but at least he's got the bonus armor anytime you take a right click, as well as the regen, so he can kind of stay up against the Shadow Fiend a little bit easier. But the Storm Spirit as well, he's pretty good at controlling the lane, so I think the last pick Gyro may cost them this game, but we'll see. I mean, we've still got tons of game time to go here, another at least 40 minutes going on, so we'll see how it goes. I'm still looking forward to some nice team fights here. Leroy going to take some damage top lane, and bot lane. Dire's just going to dance around a little bit. It is a little annoying tri-laning, aggro tri-laning as the Dire, as you don't have that nice pull camp that the Radiant would have if they aggro tri-lane, so you just kind of got to split whatever EXP you can, but looks like they're actually just going to rotate the line down here for good, as they're going to plant down the Observer Ward. It looks like Nair looking like he does want to throw it a stun, does have 2 points into it. Do have the Disruptor going a nice little 1-1-1 build, so going to be able to get the extra range for that glimpse, as well as the vision from Thunderstrike. And I do like getting Thunderstrike before nighttime, honestly. Usually you might be another level up if you're running a dual lane or a safe lane, tri-lane or something. But honestly, the Thunderstrike is pretty necessary, even just the 1 point to give you vision, especially when you're rolling into the nighttime. And you want that extra vision, especially if he's trying to juke around trees or something like that, and your vision is just absolutely awful. Wisp looks like he's going to throw out a little bit of harass mid. He's got a bottle of his own, I imagine, yeah, and it looks like he's got a bottle alongside the bottle of the Shadow Fiend, and if they're able to control both runes, which it looks like they haven't really been doing too much, this Tiny's going to find himself in a lot of trouble, and the other unfortunate thing is that the Tiny doesn't have somebody stacking the camps right now for him, and that's a huge way that you like to come back. You don't even need to wait for the Aghanims, you just get the stun toss combo off, and he's going to have to be moving into a Blink Tiny, and I imagine that's what he's going to be saving up for, just the Brown Boots Blink here. 6 minutes is about to come up. We'll see if the IO is going to, looks like he's going to start stacking camps for a Shadow Fiend. Meanwhile, Tiny actually dying mid, so it looks like he's getting a little bit too close to a double raise there, so missed that. Honestly, did not expect the Tiny to get close enough for a couple of raises, but he's going to go down mid, and already this game is hugely favoring the Dire here, but when you've got an Enigma, a Tidehunter, and look at that, he's going to bring him right under tower here, doesn't have enough mana for the Shockwave, there's the call down on Leroy, he might actually go down here, it looks like he will, so getting a little bit too aggressive was Leroy there, perhaps could have gotten the kill if he had Shockwave, and probably wishing he had a Mango there, and honestly I don't blame him for that play. He was close to getting the kill for sure, especially if maybe there was a TP in there from somebody, but meanwhile, bot lane, it looks like maybe they're gearing up to get a kill here, but Wisp did TP out, so they won't have his support if they want to go for it. And Tiny just going to return mid. Shadow Fiend, meanwhile, and the Sven are both leading this last hitting charts, and this Tiny is getting absolutely dominated mid lane. He's only 19 for 2 up against the 36 for 13. A level 8 up against only a level 6, so this is absolutely massive right now for the Shadow Fiend. He's going to get a little bit of an odd raise there, just missing, but he's also got the, even just, oh, actually, no, he missed that stack. He did get the medium camp stack, but he did actually miss this one Centaur stack here. Unfortunate for him, but at least getting the one camp here. And this Tiny doesn't really have a catch-up mechanism. They don't have Ancient stacking either for this for this Gyrocopter, which would be pretty huge as well. And Lion's been sitting bot lane, so he's at least getting some levels, but actually putting 2 points in the Hex, I don't see that all too often whatsoever. You don't really need 2 points in a Hex. Honestly, you need maybe the 1 point, just barely on the edges, that sentry ward, but really you need the 1 point in the Hex, and then you just max the Earth Spec, especially with the nerfs to Hex. It looks like they want to go in here. They don't have call, or excuse me, they do have call, and they don't have Tide ulti, and it looks like he's just going to turn around, go on to Lamesky, but look who's coming up, it's the Tiny. There's the stun toss combo, and that's going to be a 2 for 0, so they had a lot more damage than I expected, even without the ulti from the Tidehunter there. They don't need the Ravage to get the kill. Meanwhile, they still have a walking courier on the side of the Radiant, despite this being, I believe, a 5-man stack. Yeah, it has to be, because they've got Team Clutch going on, so 5-man stack, and nobody's got the upgraded Crow yet. Very greedy jungle Enigma. Just goes Blink. Doesn't even get his Brown Boots. And honestly, I think at least the Brown Boots would help. I think you get the Brown Boots first, and then you move into a nice early smoke, and then you can probably rotate bot to get a kill. Especially if you're putting the 3 points into stun and you're not getting the Midnight Pulse to be a little bit more efficient in the jungle. I think you don't need to rush the Blink that fast. You can get like a Brown Boots and then move into a Soul Ring and just get really efficient in that jungle. But if you're going to get that Blink, you should really be ganking, getting that smoke, and then just jumping onto the bot lane, especially since they have an aggro tri-lane there, and you should be picking off that Sven, who is going to move top lane now, grab some of that safe lane farm, as they're done with that bot lane now. And it's a 3 for 3 now, so we're 9 minutes in. Quite a quiet game so far, but you really wouldn't know, as there's been action kind of all over the map. We've already got the Morbid Mask here for the Gyrocopter, just about to hit level 8 once he finishes up with that stack. Hijinks Still looking for his Blink Dagger. He's only got 600 gold, so I imagine he might be going for the Mana Boots before that, especially if you've got the Blink Initiation over here from the Enigma, and that's going to be nice for him. It looks like it's going to be a drums build for the Sven right after he finished up his treads there. Does grab the Bracer, and already about 1200 HP, which is a lot to chew through, really, especially when you've got the 2 points in a work right, giving you 10 bonus armor. My god, that's ridiculous. Both carries, once they level up their armor abilities here, they're going to be definitely hard to deal with. Mid tower not taking as much damage as I would have expected when you've got a Shadow Fiend in the lane all alone, and he's got 2.3k, so we'll see if he wants to move into a Blink Dagger just to help shore up some of the team fight as well with the Magnus, who only about 1,000 gold. Looks like he's not going to be moving into the Mana Boots. Meanwhile, bot rune, looks like everybody's kind of dancing around a little bit, and this is why you would want the Soul Ring, perhaps, because you could just Soul Ring and look for a black hole, even without the Blink Dagger there. I think you could just throw a call down, and you got a little bit of a slow, probably enough to just walk in at least black hole one, you know, but he's looking for the flashy plays, the 5-man black holes, the 4-man black holes, and I'm not going to be the one to complain there. Could we see a Requiem being thrown down mid? Only level 1. I don't think it would be enough. They've got the stun toss, but who's the TP in from? It's from the Disruptor, who's got 2 points into Thunderstrike as well as 2 points into Glimpse if they want to make a go here. They've got the Lion sitting right behind this Tiny, but looks like they're not going to force a gank, and top lane, Gyrocopter's going to rotate up. As Wisp just sitting behind this Sven. Does get drawn out that he dropped a ward there. I'm not sure if the ward just went down or where they would have seen that from, or maybe they just expected it. As he does have a sentry, maybe he's saying I'm going to ward there or de-ward there. We'll have to see. It's so annoying when you place that first ward down. Meanwhile, mid lane, stun toss and a finger being thrown out. So Lansky, though, he's going to be going down. One more point into that Thunderstrike. There it is. So he's going to go down Tiny. He's got to be careful, but just look at the right-click damage. There's the Glimpse back, but they don't have any follow-up. They've got 4 points into the set if they want to go on it. The Wisp is close by. Rocket is going to continue to track on Dubs McGrubs here, and it shouldn't be enough to kill him. Only 1 point to Rocket. It's going to go down to the tower, I imagine, and he's going to say thanks for the 23 gold. So 1-for-1 when all said and done, but it was on that mid Shadow Fiend, and look at that, he is rushing the BKB. I said he was going to have to get it early on, didn't say he was going to have to rush it, but obviously he had other ideas. As Tidehunter are going to get a kill alongside this Enigma. They spent the black hole for it, and he does actually pick up Tranquil Boots on the Enigma. And I think they may be regretting that later on, as you've got a well, the Tidehunter does have Mana Boots. Okay, so maybe not so much. I was going to say you're probably going to need them for the Tiny in the line. And one more raise. Oh, he used the long range. He probably could have used medium raise there and still gotten the edge of it, but unfortunately not going to be able to get that kill. He's just going to grab some more souls, though, and he's getting closer and closer to that BKB, and that's going to be the timing window they're looking for. They don't have black hole for another about minute at least. Yeah, he just used it, so actually he's got another couple minutes, about 2.5 minutes before he can use it, and by that time it will be up once he's got his BKB, but really, other than that black hole, they don't have too much here, as looks like Shadow Fiend is going to start pushing bot lane. Tiny picks up a blink of his own, so he's going to have a lot of initiation with the blink from the Tiny as well as the Enigma. And then later on, Tidehunter, he's getting close to his, so about 700 gold. And I don't have his blink there. They are going to catch this Observer Ward if they do see it, but it's nighttime and it's just outside of vision. So they are going to leave it up a little bit longer, but it was just placed, and I imagine it will get seen sometime soon here, as it looks like the jungle, the Wisp getting pretty aggressive right now, going to take some damage from the Eidolons, and look at that, already at about half HP, does have a bottle there, so he's going to get a nice little bottle charge for himself, as Shadow Fiend's still pressuring this tower. Meanwhile, though, Enigma's close by, doesn't have any mana, though, he still hasn't gone home, and this is why I would like to see the Brown Boots Soul Ring more than the Tranquil Boots here. Honestly, I'm not sure why he went Tranquil Boots, but it's just looking for that move speed. But you got the Blink Dagger anyways, and look at that. They're going to find the Observer Ward and not go to kill it because they are a little bit scared. Top lane, though, Gyrocopter's had some nice free farm as well as Nara, though, so he was probably in the jungle for a little bit. We're going to have a couple TPs up top. There's the Speed Burst. There's the Sun going to go out. The one raise, the second raise. Are we going to have a nice triple raise? No triple raise there, but he is going to get the call down as well. There's the Sun Toss from the Tiny, though, and that is a dead Sven. Out of nowhere, this Tiny showing off his Blink Dagger, and that is what you want to do with your Blink Dagger. You don't want to show it off until you can at least get a kill there. And now they're aware of it, though, so they're going to play a little bit safer, I imagine, here. But really, that's all you need, getting a nice kill on it, especially, of course. So already, I would say this Blink Dagger has pretty well paid for itself there, especially if he can just turn around and blink. Oh, is he going to get it? No, yes, he is, so he's going to get it there as well. I thought maybe the send back was going to prevent it from getting the toss off, but he did get the toss, and it was plenty of damage there. So again, the blink dagger, I mean, he didn't really need the blink there. It did get him a little bit closer for the stun toss. You have to wonder if he would have been close enough without it there. Probably not, as he would have had to walk a little bit more, which would have gotten the send back enough time to probably throw him away. And here we go. So 2 kills going to this Tiny, who was a little bit behind now, but here's the BKB onto the Shadow Fiend. But still, actually, he's close to the blink dagger, so here we go. This is when this game's about to get pretty janky, honestly. Everybody's starting to hit their items. Tiny's got his treads now, and oh god, am I ever looking forward to this one. How close is the Tidehunter to his blink dagger? About 1,300 gold. Not far off. Should have it by about the 18, 19 minute mark. Although it's already 15, so maybe around the 21. Perhaps we'll see how he farms. Maybe if they can get another tower like top lane with the gyro, could be sped up a little bit here. And Tiny, he's going to TP top. We'll see if he wants to show or just look for the kill. It looks like he's not going to show here. And Enigma getting a nice TP right on that tower. They're both going to stand behind him. Enigma actually blinking up. So are we going to have anybody TPing top to defend the tower? The Dire perhaps knowing what's going on. They're seeing, hey, everybody's missing off the map. We don't have a jungle ward, but we do have this lane ward bot. We know nobody's behind this creep wave, and nobody's around this river or close to the mid lane here, so they should know what's going on, and it will be a free tower when everything's said and done here. I would like to see them give it to the Tidehunter, just so he could get closer to that blink dagger, but I'm not going to grab it. Tide, I would like to see at least that 1 point in the gush, honestly. I think the negative armor, negative 2 armor is not that great, but it's still negative armor, and it does give you a little bit of catch with the slow. Meanwhile, though, a huge smoke up from the Dire, though, and they're ready. There's the ulti. They're going to run into the Tiny first. The skewer up. There's the RP. There's going to blink in and throw out the stun. That's going to be only one, though. Do they know that the Tiny's up on the cliff? I don't believe so. Can they see him with this vision? Looks like no, just out of vision actually behind this tree, it looks like. So Tiny, a very nice blink reaction there is going to help secure him his life, actually. And they will get the gyrocopter, which was the 1 position. So it's going to be a little unfortunate for them. They probably would have liked to get more with all the team fight they have, as well as spending the Magnus ultimate there. But looks like they are going to move this Tidehunter up towards the Ancients. And oh no. Sentry placement, I kind of cringe a little bit whenever I see the sentry placement. I guess maybe they're possibly looking for a deep observer ward, but if you place the sentry like right here, you can get both this ward and the sword at the same time, so keep that one in mind, guys. I love that sentry. We see it a lot. Honestly, it's super common now, so I'm surprised he did miss it. Especially in a very high skill captain's mode game, which this is, although very high skill is like 3.6k or something, so I mean technically not very high. But did I just hear smoke go off? I did. Mid lane, 5 heroes smoked up. They're looking for this Magnus. They've got the blink in from the Tiny. Maybe they want more though, and now they will get it because Shadow Fiend's close by. There's the blink in. They're going to instantly get a kill onto that Magnus, and it looks like Shadow Fiend wants to keep going. There's the blink in. The Enigma's going to get a black hole 3. Nair's going to cancel with the stun though. Can this Shadow Fiend survive? He's going to BKB. Is he going to be able to Requiem after that? No, there's the toss up. Gonna get a 3 for nil so far. This actually, is this gonna get the kill? The BKB is gonna stop. Oh my god, just barely enough to survive. If only he had another point into that rocket. Whew. What a team fight that was. It looked like maybe the Dire was gonna be able to turn it around, but a nice hex up onto that Shadow Fiend was gonna ensure that the BKB couldn't get popped early enough, and here we go, 10 for 6. The Radiant bringing it back after the Dire controlled pretty well every lane. The Radiant's bringing it back, and Tiny moving towards his Aghanim Scepter. There it is. So does have a point booster now, and this is when you got to start the timer, as Tiny's just going to get bigger and bigger. Sven actually getting a blink of his own, so I do like that. Not going for the jumps. Does get the Basilius. Perhaps he got it a little bit earlier on to help push his lane up. Probably try to get this top tower, but the Radiant's been putting on a lot of pressure top, and here they go to do it again. They're going to put some more pressure on top. Perhaps look for this tier 2 just so they can limit the Dire jungle a little bit more. And if you can do that, get rid of that tower and then throw somebody in the woods there, like perhaps the Tidehunter. He's got his blink. He's a little bit tankier. You know, if you lose the Tidehunter, it's not a big deal. But if you can throw somebody in there to even just farm up the jungle, even if you don't farm it up that much, even if you're just around it, and you have vision, you're almost a moving ward. You're saying, hey guys, they're not in the jungle. They've got to be somewhere on the other side of the map. Be careful. And that's huge. That is so much information that you're getting just by being in the enemy jungle. I know Cloud9 does it a lot. If you ever watch Eternal Envy play, maybe not so much recently, but back in the days of like Aoi and Sing Sing there, he was in the enemy jungle so much, and it just gave them so much vision and stuff, and you know, they didn't get much more than second place off that, but still, I know I was a huge proponent to how good they were, is that they were getting so much information just from envy farming. Even if he dies, he creates a lot of space, and that almost seems like the story of Cloud9, somebody dying to create space for another 2 or 3 heroes on the team. And we're not here to talk about Cloud9, though. We're here to talk about this game, and what a game it's been so far. Only 16 kills, 19 minutes in, but still, it's been a ton of fun. A lot of nice team fight here, and a lot of nice ultimates, but 20 minutes in, still got around 20 minutes left. I think it was about a 40-something minute game, so I guess I'm kind of ruining it a little bit, as you guys know who's going to win, but, well, I mean, you don't know who's going to win, but you can tell who's going to win maybe by the 40-minute mark if somebody's really far ahead there. Look like Tidehunter almost used Ravage now. A lot of heroes on the Dire in this jungle right now, so they're actually kind of scared. I don't know if they're waiting to smoke up here, or looks like, yeah, they do have a smoke actually, so they're waiting to smoke up, and they're going to bait on the back of the Shadow Fiend. Maybe the Shadow Fiend was not in the smoke there, so looks like perhaps they're going to use him as a little bit of a bait here. He is going to raise out this mid lane, and they're actually in front of the Shadow Fiend. And while I do like smoke plays no matter what, it is a nighttime smoke play, which means I believe smoke pops at like 1600, and you've only got 800 vision. Meanwhile, there's Tiny, excuse me, the Lion. He's going to go down. Tiny's right across the way, but he's not going to be able to save him, and they are going to get a kill on the Lion, but that's not what you want when you smoke up 4 heroes and you're sitting in the jungle farming before that. You really lost a lot there. So if we take a look at the net worth, the Shadow Fiend still leading actually. So he's leading by quite a bit, about 600. The Enigma in second, though, so a nice efficient jungle here from this Enigma is going to ensure that he gets the second highest net worth. But after that, you've got 3 heroes, or 2 heroes from the Radiant close by. So if the Radiant wins one more team fight, they're easily going to secure themselves the net worth advantage across the top 3 cores here. They're actually leading net worth just barely, though, and looks like Tiny perhaps getting a little bit too close for his own comfort here, but let's take a nice zoom out as we're going to see a big team fight here. The Enigma actually all the way top lane. Tidehunter set up quite far away to get a nice Ravage there. They are going to throw a raise out into the fog as they're expecting somebody to be off to the side there. Maybe the Enigma, maybe the Tidehunter. The Wisp playing so far out right now. It doesn't have a regen rune or anything, as that would have been quite nice if you can grab a regen rune, but he is waiting for the tether here, and look at this. All 5 heroes from the Radiant. The Glimmer Cape going to be used to start off on the Gyrocopter. There's the blink back from the Sven, though. He's going to be alright, and the Colonel's going to absolutely miss everybody. There's a blink in the stun, though, as well as the Ravage. Are they going to get the black hole here? They couldn't get out through, but no, the Disruptor's going to cancel it. There's the Shadow Fiend. The Magnus doing so much work. The Requiem is going to go down as well. It looks like Clutch is going to be the next one to die. Just look at the right clicks, and what a huge Requiem. That was absolutely clutch there from this Disruptor. Honestly, throwing down the ultimate, the Static Storm was huge there. Just able to cancel that black hole and buy his team the extra seconds that they needed. And what a team fight that was. And they're just going to move into Roshan here. The Shadow Fiend's hitting so far. He's got 4K. That is absolutely massive. He's got 4K to his name. And he's going to have an Aegis on top of that. And this is when it gets very scary now for Clutch Gaming, because you know, you're getting close to the Eggman Scepter on this Tiny, but you're going to have to start really taking this game to the long haul if you want to get anything done here. And look at the damage actually Roshan is able to output here. They do have a nice little bit of regen here from this Wisp, giving a nice little bottle charge there. They got to be careful. I think he should stomp here soon. The Sven is going to come up, and he's probably going to be tanking soon. Do they have vision of this? The Radiant does have vision, and they see them all quite low, so perhaps they're going to move to stop this, and the Dire's going to have to leave, so they don't have a mech or anything. They didn't have bottle charges, and if the the Radiant takes this now, this could be pretty huge, and they've got an Invis Tiny who's just going to walk in, and this Ward won't be able to see them walking in here. Courier is going to move in, and Gyrocopter just going to throw it on the Rocket Barrage. Tiny is looking for a kill here. Look who it's going to be. It's going to be the Disruptor, who's going to be quite important here. The blink up here from this. Actually, I'm not sure why the Enigma blinked up there. Didn't really need to. I thought perhaps it was the Sven coming around for his teammate, but looks like it wasn't, and now this could be quite scary for them. They could have the blink-in from the Tiny. Meanwhile, actually it's going to be the blink-in from this Sven, as he's going to go and stun the Tiny, but look at the damage the Tiny's not even going down. The Carlot's going to land the black hole. It's going to follow it up. It's going to be a 2-for-0 so far. The Tiny's going to end up going down. The BKB from the Shadow Fiend and the right clicks on the Clutch here. It looks like that is the RP, though. Shrubby's going to go down. Meanwhile, the Gyrocopter's still in the pit trying to get the Roshan here. Is he going to be able to get it, or is he going to die? The Bash, he's going to go down. He's not going to be able to finish it up. This Tidehunter's coming in. He does have Ravage at 13. Are they going to be able to get it? They're a little bit scared. No, the Gyrocopter is going to be so careful right now. This Roshan's at 600 HP. And they should see it here. The blink in from the Magnus. He's got to be pinging it out. Shadow Fiend's too low though. Can they do it? Just the two of them? I don't believe so. They're pinging out. He's regenerating up quite fast. He's already at about 1,000, but what a team fight that was. Again, it looked like the Radiant was going to have that one with a black hole in the finger to follow it up, getting 2 kills early on. The Tiny found in the back there to, I'm not sure what actually. I think it was the Magnus there. And thank God he had a force staff. That would have been pretty embarrassing. But there it is. So the Roshan finally going to go to the Dire, which was rightfully theirs. They started it off. They're going to finish it now. And it looks like the Shadow Fiend's going to be moving into, I imagine, a Scotty now. Scotty would be pretty important here up against the Tiny to help, you know, really kite him around with that Agnum Scepter. He's pretty slow, and you really got to kite him around if you can. And the Scotty's going to be pretty important, as well as give him the HP he's going to need against him. This Sven, he should be going for a crit, I imagine. He's got the Mask of Madness, so obviously that's a great item. Get that attack speed when you've got the damage, and probably going to be moving into a crit after that. We'll have to see what he's going to want to grab as Disruptor. Probably going to get an Eggs, maybe a Blink first, but he's playing a nice hard support next to this Wisp, who actually is going for the mech here. So they've got a lot of mana boots on the side of the Dire here. I think they probably didn't need the mana boots on the Disruptor, in all honesty, but no big deal if you get a couple pairs of mana boots. I think usually you really only need maybe 1 pair of mana boots on the team, but here's the smoke up. They don't have Black Hole for another 73 seconds. They do have the Ravage as well as the Call Down though, so that could be enough to send them a team fight. Actually, the Glimmer Cape was picked up on a gyro. I thought the Lion was the one that threw it on the gyrocopter there, so an odd pickup for him, in all honesty. I think he's got 700 net worth, but a lot of that, not a lot of it, but some of that's going to be tied up in the Glimmer Cape, and I'm really not sure if it's worth it, in all honesty. It doesn't give you any damage, and really when you're up against a Sven and a Shadow Fiend and the Magnus giving them Empower, you need something to match that damage right now, and the Glimmer Cape, very questionable right now. He's moving into a BKB after as well, and this is absolutely huge because while you're moving into a BKB on the gyrocopter, the Sven, what does he have? A Mask of Madness and a Blink. So he's going to be out farming you, hands down. Doesn't matter what you have. He's already at 8,200, so he's a little bit up there on the net worth, but he's going to keep increasing that lead, especially with the Empower of the Shadow Fiend. He's got the Blink Dagger. He did go for a BKB, but he's much better at flash farming with the raises, and he had a much better early game as well. And just look at that, 12,000 net worth. The gyrocopter is nowhere near that, and really, especially if you look at the other mid laner who was the Tiny, he's nowhere near that as well. So the Shadow Fiend dominating this game right now. Gonna have an early Scotty. I don't think there's anything on the courier, but still gonna have quite an early Scotty here. Tiny does finish up his Agnum Scepter, so he's gonna be increasing his farm rate as well. But really, the gyrocopter, where is this damage coming from? It's gonna be coming from the Call Down and the Rocket Barrage, and it's definitely not gonna be coming from the right clicks here, as we are gonna see the Dire moving up towards top tower here, and this could spell one of the last team fights. A nice creep from the Radiant. Actually going to try to spot something out here. As Tiny, he's got the double damage. There's the force out, the blink in. They're going to catch just the gyrocopter. The skewer back actually going to miss. There's the blink in. The Requiem of Souls starting, but it's not going to continue. There's the Ravage actually going to land on 4 heroes. Only one of them was BKB'd there, and the Shadow Fiend, the Requiem being charged up here. And there's the glimpse back onto this Tidehunter here. The line of the Tidehunter so far, they're going down. The Sven is going down as well. Just look at the damage from the Tiny. Not going to be able to secure the kill though. Meanwhile, the Enigma with the black hole in the back here is the gyrocopter probably calling for him to turn around here, as they could perhaps get a kill, only if they had a little bit more damage. The Rocket Barrage being used, but nobody's close by, so a little bit of a waste there. And what a team fight that was. Real okay being used. They're saying, hey, gyrocopter. Alright. Maybe getting the at least the range for the glimpse here, so 2 missed raises. Probably could just right click him at this point. Honestly, got a little bit dicey at the end there, but you still have the Aegis, and I think if you've got the that was a weird team fight, in all honesty. Did get a little bit tongue-tied there with the Tidehunter, but a weird team fight there. The Tidehunter did get a Ravage on 3, and it looked like he was starting a little bit good, but the Enigma was unable to get off his black hole despite having a BKB, so couldn't get off his black hole. Probably had his blink canceled from perhaps the Magnus, maybe even the Thunderstrike. I didn't really quite see what happened there, as I got a little preoccupied with the Tidehunter, and I got a little tongue-twisted, but nonetheless, it was a good fight from the Dire. The Shadow Fiend got low, but he had the Aegis, so there was no worries there whatsoever, and it's just slowly and like really going into the Dire's favor here. Look at the Tiny, though. Excuse me, not the Tiny. Thought that was the Tiny, so I picked up the graph there, and it looked like Tiny for a second, but the Dire actually leading in team net worth for the first time in quite a while here. As whoa, Magnus going in for the kill. If he would have gotten that, that would have been a very dead Enigma, or at least forced to throw up the black hole and hope for a couple rotations in here, as The Lion and the Tiny are close by, but the EXP quite heavily in the Radiant, or excuse me, the Dire's favor here. There's the Glimmer Cape yet again from the Gyrocopter, and maybe thinking, you know, Shadow Blade's good on Gyrocopter, I'll get the Poor Man's Shadow Blade. Not the item. Not the item, buddy. I think next time, go for a little bit of damage. Sure, get the Helm, the BKB, but, I mean, really, you've got a Helm and a BKB. You got the Phase Boost, so thankfully you didn't go Treads. The Aegis does get reclaimed there. Shadow Fiend just going to regen up a little bit, but they already got all they wanted with it. They won a team fight. They prevented their... Actually, no, they didn't prevent the top tower from dying, but they did win a team fight quite heavily there, and really, this Gyrocopter is the story of the game so far. As he doesn't have the damage output that he needs here, and Nera, he's going to be moving into a BKB of his own. You don't have to go too many damage items here. He's almost level 16. He's going to have the level 3 God Strength, which gives you a ton of damage, and he's not even using God Strength, and he already hits quite hard there with the Empower, so he's going to have a bonus 200% damage, and with the Empower on top of that, really, you can't blame him for not building any damage items, for not wanting to build a crit stick next, because why do you have to? There's a smoke up from the Dire yet again at nighttime, though, so it's going to pop at like 1,600 or 1,300 units, I think it pops at, where most heroes only have about 800 nighttime vision, so they're going to pop it before they see them, unless they get it somewhere around this ramp, which could be quite nice. They should see the most of them mid lane, and here we go. We've got all the important abilities up here for the Dire, but look at that, they're going to run right into the Enigma. It's going to barely blink out and be able to survive here. He should just BKB and turn around here and try to go for the ultimate. He honestly probably should have just tried to black hole there. Blink in and black hole, get one like right here. The rest of the team was pretty close by, honestly, but nice reaction timing from him is going to ensure that they don't get anything off of that, and Wisp is still really struggling to get this mechanism, and when you've got the bottle, honestly, I don't think you need the Arcane Boots, but realistically, that's not game breaking. Just, you know, a couple things to make your build more efficient, and honestly, Dota's a game of efficiency, so you got to keep these things in mind. I think a lot of people seem to misbuy Arcane Boots. I think if you're fighting a lot, if you don't have anything for mana regen, like a bottle or anything like that, and you're fighting a lot and you've got a lot of spells that you're constantly spamming, then sure, grab the Arcane Boots. Or if somebody on your team has something like that and they don't have Arcane Boots but they need them, then sure, grab the Arcane Boots, but you've already got a Disruptor with them. Your abilities cost 40, 150, and 100 mana. The 100 mana from Relocate you're only using maybe a couple times. Obviously, Spirits have quite a low cooldown, honestly, but I really think if you've got the bottle and stuff like that, you're really only going to use Spirits like once in a fight, maybe twice, so you don't really need that. You've already got a 722 mana pool, so I think the money saved from the Arcane Boots here is much more worth getting them, or not getting them, than it is getting them, but nonetheless, nothing wrong with that. I think it would have just sped up this mech and given the Dire a little bit more towards their team fight, which, when both teams have so much team fight, it's important to try and just squeak out every little team fight advantage you can, as nobody on the Radiant is anywhere near a mechanism here. Just going for the refresher on the Enigma and the Blink Dagger on this line. He's still trying to search for it, 32 minutes in. Getting close to it now, but again, just look at how fast this Sven is farming. Doesn't even need too much. Actually, I'm not gonna go for the range creep instead of getting those two. Probably thought he was gonna get the kill there on those two creeps with the last right click, but didn't get it. And the BKB on the Magnus and the BKB on the Sven. So Ravage is not doing too much anymore in these team fights. He's getting a BKB of his own here, but really, what's it gonna stop? Maybe the Disruptor ultimate is what you're looking to grab it for, but you're still going to get a ton of damage from Sven. Meanwhile, there's the stun on 2, actually. The Enigma's getting so low right now. Maybe going to throw down a black hole. Looks like no. There's the call on the Ravage. Actually going to hit on 3 before they BKB. Just look at the damage from Tiny Requiem being channeled, and the turnaround already from the Shadow Fiend. The Static Storm doing so much work. The Enigma's coming back in. He's just getting a glimpse out. He's trying to black hole the buyback from the Lion as well. It looks like the Shadow Fiend's just going to walk out of this team fight. Looks like they're going to turn around and maybe get the tower. The Raze is going to be ensuring that the creep wave goes down here. And again, these team fights look like they're going to go the way of the Radiant here, and then the Dire just somehow barely surviving. Obviously, the Sven and the Eye are going to go down, but the Shadow Fiend, he's just barely surviving in these team fights, which is so important. He channels that Requiem, he deals the damage, but more importantly, he takes the damage away from the Tiny, as well as whoever else is standing around. The damage reduction, again, we're talking about this Gyrocopter dealing no damage, and when you've got the damage reduction from the Requiem of Souls, it's even worse. So where's the damage coming out from this Radiant team? You saw a huge ultimate from the Tidehunter. I think the Shadow Fiend, or the Sven, was the only one BKB'd there. He still ended up dying, but the Magnus and the Shadow Fiend both took the damage, or the stun, I guess you could say. they had the cooldown on top of them. It seemed like it was going to be such a perfect team fight. The Enigma died early on. Probably should have BKB'd right away and just turned around and thrown out the black hole. Even if you get it off for a couple seconds and you can disable them for a couple seconds, it's better than nothing. It looks like they're going to ping out for a smoke here. But the game going further and further into the Dire's favor here as the net worth, just look at it drop there. And there it goes, keeps going into the Dire's favor, as well as the EXP, already about 13, 14, thousand ahead. And what a game this has been so far. We're going to have the double smoke special here as both teams going in opposite ends of the map, both smoked up. So happens quite often in pro Dota, amateur Dota, pub Dota, whatever Dota. It seems like when you're ahead, what do you want to do? Smoke and get more kills. When you're behind, what do you want to do? Smoke and get a pick off. Io just barely going to get out of the vision range there. Does tether up and perhaps going to find at least a double damage unit, maybe a kill off of this. Here we go. The Radiant will have the high ground advantage. They know they're here. No Ravage for 20 seconds. There's the blink up from the Sven, though. He's going to get the stun. Oh, my Lord. Just look at that. That's so much damage. The ultimate from this Magnus as well as the cleave from the Sven. Absolutely huge. Easy triple kill. The Enigma's going to TP home. The Tiny's still getting chased. Doesn't have blink for another few seconds, and that's a very dead Tiny. Nice first hit, Craigie. Like I was saying before, there's the sun going out, but it doesn't matter. That's a dead Tiny. That's a tier 1 top tower. Most likely a tier 2 top tower, and an ultra kill for the Sven. 2.6k. Now he can move into that easy crit. And we saw there, he doesn't even need the crit. The damage from the Magnus, that was a beautiful RP. A nice blink up from the low ground, getting, I think, 3 heroes at least in that RP. The Enigma was on the outside. The Tiny, I believe, got stunned up around here. And that would spell the end of the team fight there. So, nice win for the Dire yet again. Playing these team fights very well. The Radiant Enigma holding on to these black holes. Can't really do it. I mean, that time I can't blame him, as the fight was essentially over once that RP was hit alongside that Sven. So can't really blame this Enigma. But I do want to say that I think, again, it comes down to the draft. And I think from the get-go, it was already a draft win from the Dire. We saw them win the lanes early on. And really, this Gyrocopter, what's he been doing? He does have 1,100 net worth, or 11,000 net worth, excuse me. But still, a lot of that is tied up in the Glimmer Cape. Not a lot of it, again, not a lot of it, but how much is Glimmer Cape? 14, 17, like almost 2,000, I think, maybe? What do we got here? Glimmer Cape. I cannot find this item. Here we go. 19, yeah, so almost 2,000 gold there. And really, you've got 11,000. It's more like 9,000 net worth, which brings you closer to this Tidehunter. You've got 2,000 of that tied up in a Glimmer Cape, which gives you, what, 20 attack speed and 20% spell resistance? You put it on yourself, you get 55 resistance. That does nothing. You've got so much physical damage right now that not only is the pick of this Gyrocopter not really the best here, but I think the itemization as well is really hurting them. But the game's not over until the Ancient falls, and this game's still not over. You got a Tiny, and that's still huge. He's moving into the, what I imagine will be an AC here. Could be a Mjolnir, but I think the AC is the better option, especially against the Sven. He's giving his team like probably 20 armor now. So yeah, 20 armor. So giving his team 20 armor now, you can at least try to get rid of that. And then if you can get a Vlad's, that'd be absolutely massive as well, because you can give your team more armor. Obviously, it won't help against the cleave, but the main target is going to reduce the cleave if he's got more armor. And AC and Vlad's is actually quite a bit. I believe they both give the same bonus armor. So we've got Vlad's giving 5 armor, and I think AC is the same actually. So yeah, so both giving bonus 5 armor. So a nice bonus 10 armor going towards your team is pretty important when you've got the Shadow Fiend with the presence, and you've got the Sven dealing so much damage. The presence, I think it's like 7 or 8, maybe 6. Probably thinking of Desolator giving around 7. So only 6 negative armor, but still you can at least reduce that in a couple of items, and also, you know, give some negative armor towards the other team. They're going to go on that Tiny, not the real one, but didn't pop too much to get the kill on that illusion anyways, thankfully enough. And it looks like Dire's ready to just go down mid lane and perhaps call this game, as they've got so much damage. There's all that bonus armor. It's such a low cooldown as well. Already pretty well off cooldown, as they're looking for this Tiny top lane, but it's not the real Tiny, and they're putting a lot into going to get this gank, if that's what you want to call it. At least the illusion won't die actually, so they're going to go on this Tiny. I imagine they should see that it's not the real Tiny though. If they use anything on this Tiny, That'll be an absolute disaster. And look at that. They're going to realize that it's an illusion. They should have noticed this. He wasn't cleaving whatsoever, and he was barely dealing damage. So maybe a little bit of blunder there from the Dire, losing out on a little bit of time there. But when they're this far ahead, you can be as inefficient with your time as you want, really, and still be all right. They've got that Aegis for another few minutes at least, maybe another couple minutes, actually. But we'll see when that starts to tick down. And here we go. This could be the last team fight. The black hole could be the decider here. Is really, I mean, so they are going to grab the Glimmer Cape on the Gyrocopter, and if you want to make the most use out of this item, you're going to put it on the Enigma. Initiation from Invis is so huge that if you can get a Glimmer on this Enigma, they don't have any true sight. They won't be able to see him. He'll be, he'll be inside the vision range, but he'll be Invis still, and that's a huge proponent as to why the Glimmer Cape's so huge. I'm surprised we don't see Bat Rider getting picked up. I mean, not really, there's a couple reasons, but throwing a Glimmer Cape on a Bat Rider would be absolutely massive. I mean, a Glimmer Cape on anybody that can initiate, but mainly the Enigma because it's BKB piercing. It's such a long disable. You can follow it up with the Ravage after that. I mean, if you want to make the most out of that item, you're going to use it on the Enigma here, and it looks like he is going to throw down, wow, double blinked there from both heroes as the Enigma, luckily enough, getting away. Just look at the damage out here. The double damage as well as the Empower, giving them so much there, and Rocket going to be thrown out. Honestly, I don't think they care. There's one, there's two, three. Actually taking quite a few hits here. Nara is going to tank a little bit of that damage, but not worried at all. Still has the Aegis for about a minute, so they should really be looking to go high ground here. They do get the data list, but still just running around in the jungle. Just going to throw the Aegis towards farming, and nothing wrong with that, all honesty. You're limiting your enemy team's farm. You know they're sitting in the base. All their lanes are pushing in. Nobody's top lane getting this farm, so somebody will be able to later on for Dire team rotate and get that farm top lane, as obviously there's nothing up there. Looks like he was actually trying to force stuff up to these Ancients, but not going to be able to get there. Nara is going to move again towards bot lane here with the Aegis. Should be going down in about a minute, anytime now. And finally, this game's going to quiet down a little bit here as the Shadow Fiend does grab the MKB here. Do we have the Butterfly? No, so maybe thinking this Gyro is going to get a Butterfly eventually, but not really going to grab it anytime soon. And I think that money would have been a little bit better spent, really, at least anything, really, honestly. An MKB, you don't want to go MKB unless you have to. It doesn't really give you much damage. And you do need more damage. Like, it does give you damage, obviously, and attack speed, which is good, but you don't want to go it unless somebody has a Butterfly, because really you only get it for the True Strike. The stats it gives you really aren't that great, especially when compared to something like a Daedalus or even a Desolator to just add on to all the physical damage on your team. Even if it did get nerfed a little bit, the damage of it, I think just the negative armor towards any hero on the enemy team, when you've got something like a Sven and you've got Empower, is pretty huge. So I guess because they've got the Empower, they don't really need to get damage items that bad. But I mean, the mini bash isn't that effective, really. He's going to grab an Invis rune, which is going to be nice for him. But the mini bash isn't all too useful. It doesn't help, like, get rid of Craggy or anything like that. I mean, even a Silver Edge to disable that Craggy, I wouldn't disagree with that. I don't think it would be the worst thing. The Silver Edge to disable the Kraken Shell here from the Tidehunter as well, at least. But even just to walk in with those ultimates, but we'll see. No team either getting a gem, so I think if the Dire really wants to continue their domination of this game, they get a gem and they just de-ward all over the map. They just limit the vision, but I don't want to be too hard on either team. I feel like I'm being a little bit too hard on both these teams, but if they're going to watch this cast, then maybe it'll give them some ideas for the next game. See maybe what they did wrong, what they did right. Whoever drafted for the Dire, really like this draft, man. You did a good job, so keep on keeping on. And Radiant, you're getting there. You're getting there. Maybe if you just would have taken a little bit better of a pick for that Gyrocopter instead of grabbing that Gyrocopter like a Storm or a Timber, I think would have been absolutely sick this game still. But still, game's not over. And they're not that far behind either. It looks like the Enigma wants to go for a black hole. He's got to be careful. He does have BKB and Refresher. If there's going to be a fight, it's going to have to be now. There it is. It's going to go down. It's going to get canceled instantly. There's the RP actually going to land on only one hero on the Enigma here. The second RP going to land on another one, though. The Tiny trying to do whatever damage he can, but just look at how tanky this team is right now. And look at the damage and Ultra Kill for this Sven. He has not died in solo. It's his second Ultra Kill of the game. He's just going to blink up. The Gyrocopter is going to buy back. There's the buyback from the Tiny as well, but if anything, they're just signaling the end of the game. The Radiant should be able to easily take this Rax, and That should be GG. So a pretty good game, honestly. The Radiant started off behind. They brought it back a little bit. We saw this. Just look at that. That does nothing, really. BKB doesn't help you against anything. The Tiny's going to blink in, try to get an Avatos combo there, but not going to do too much there. They're going to get the stun on Daenerys. Is he going to go down? No, he's just barely going to be able to survive here, and he's quite alright with that. Look at how low everybody is. If only the line was there with a stun, right? They'd maybe be able to get a couple kills. Shadow Fiend just going to take the tower. Really annoyed with this game. Probably just wants it to end because they're so far ahead right now. And now there's 2 heroes up. They've got to be careful. They've got to blink Ravage. Relocate in. It's just going to bring this fight home. Oh, no! Ooh, just barely getting the blink out there is Nera. He's got to get tethered up. He's not going to be able to get tethered up. And just throw it on the mech at the very least. Not even going to get the mech off there, but looks like they don't care. They still got the skewer away in there. It is the skewer to get out. And Nera, is he going to go down? Do we have the gush? There it is, the gush. There's the stun, the T, or the blink in a second, and should be quite alright. Still want to keep the chase going here. There's the cancel on the blink, though, which is going to be pretty important here. Looks like they won't be able to continue the chase there. And the game is not over yet, so they did get 2 diebacks, and realistically, I think any other game you'd probably call GG here because there's no way your Gyrocopter or your Tiny can keep up with the Sven or the Shadow Fiend right now, but nothing wrong with playing the game out. Nothing wrong with playing the game out. You never know when the team's going to throw. Could get rid of whatever lead that you may have had. And really, it's been a pretty fun game. So if there's a little bit more fun to be had here, then I don't mind casting it whatsoever. Some nice banners here. So you may lose, but at least you got some pretty cool banners here. I do like them. I think you probably could maybe make the cogs a little nicer. But look at me, just being so critical of this game. Nah, that's a nice banner. Same with you guys. I think this is... I think that's the guy from Fight of the Concords. I'm pretty sure. Don't know his name, unfortunately, but I think that's who it is. Pretty good show. If you guys have never seen it, sometimes I do catch it on TV. If you can catch it, then it's a lot of fun. It looks like maybe this Io could die here. Look at that, though. There's the RP. There's the blink, and this Sven's going to turn around and just look at the damage. A Godlike and a double kill going for the Shadow Fiend. A double kill going for the Sven, and that's going to be a 5-for-0 trade. And that should signal a good game here as the Dire's just going to ball down mid lane. They've only got a buyback on the Lion, and that was quite unexpected. I wasn't even really paying attention to where the Dire heroes were, and what a game this was. AC now up on the Sven, and what do you have to compete with this team? Absolutely nothing. But what a good game this was. So thanks again to the guys over at TV. I imagine they're the ones that sent it in. Not too often people send in a game in which they lost here. It was a lot of fun to cast, and they're just going to barrel down mid. Not even look for the GG, just look to end the game here. It's going to break all the effigies. Kablamo, nice little Techies effigy there. But yeah, what a game it was. The Dire really pulling it away from their lane, their early laning stage. They expanded their lead. They lost it for a little bit, but GG, well played, guys. Good job from the Dire. They're just gonna let the fountain fire a little bit, and a little bit unmannered, but you know, why not celebrate your victory? There's the RP, yada yada yada. What a game, guys. Thanks again for sending this in. I had a lot of fun casting it. Some pretty cool team fights. A little bit of hype casting mixed in there with a little bit of an analysis. So I hope you guys enjoyed the game. Thank you again for sending it in. Hopefully no more trash talk for either team here. No more practice for you guys. Yeah, look at this. Congrats for noticing, Brown. So a lot of fun, guys. Thanks for sending this in. And please, if you want to take a couple seconds at the end of this video, there's some more info. I cast some in-houses. I as well have a learning series I'm trying to start up. If you want to just take a listen to that, and it'll tell you a little bit more about myself, please do. But thanks again for watching, guys, and have a good one. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to check out some of my other videos. I have my series From Lane to Lane where I just cast some everyday pubs that you guys send me. I also do some more professional pubs like games from Koikva, Miracle, whoever I can get my hands on from Dodo Buff. I have a learning series as well, so feel free to check that out. There's some more info in the description as well as some videos linked in the annotations at the end here. Thanks a lot.